What's goody with you all today? My name is RageVT, and today I'm bringing you another Master Duel themed gameplay duel. Today, the deck that I'll be showcasing is Rockets. I've been thinking of decks that I really want to play and have been building, and because I wanted to keep it themed to specific archetypes and decks, I thought, let me look at some of my favorite characters in all of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime, and I landed on one character that I absolutely loved so much in the anime, Revolver. Sometime last year, I binged the entirety of Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains during my downtime in lockdown, and it was my first time watching it. This is the part where I tell you to watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, because it's an absolutely and insanely cool series, and I loved every bit of watching it. It's right behind 5Ds as my favorite, and I love it. But rather than rambling about Vrains for the next hour, because believe me, I can, and I will, one day, I thought, why not build a deck and see how well it does in my ranked adventure? Now, for those of you that aren't aware, my favorite archetype in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is Galaxy Eyes. I've mentioned it before, and don't worry, that video will come soon enough. But right behind Galaxy Eyes is my next favorite, Code Talkers. This is my main deck in both Master Duel and the TCG. I built this while I was watching Vrains, and while I was doing so, I started building decks of other main characters too. But there was one character in Vrains I knew I immediately wanted to build after, and that character is Revolver. Revolver in the anime plays Rockets, with his ace monsters being the Borreload dragons and the topologic dragons. In the TCG, however, Rockets are one of the funnest archetypes to play in the form of Rokket Dragon Link, where you can add and do so many crazy things with them. In this video though, I won't be showcasing the Rokket Link strategies too in depth. No, I wanted to go with pure Rockets, pure Borreload, and to just see how well I can do with this deck. So that's exactly what I'm going to be doing here. Doesn't sound like the most fun thing to play, I know, but I like giving myself challenges like this. So in this video, I'm going to be showcasing some duels I had in my ranked adventure as I learned how to play this deck with just its core. I've made it to Gold 1 with this deck, and that's where all these duels took place, between about Gold 2 and Gold 1. And I think there's still a lot of power in this deck, even just going with the base of pure Rockets, and without all the extra moving parts that make the Rokket Link strategy so strong. Now, in this video, I'm going to be trying to showcase more of the Borreload dragons themselves, and won't be going into the topologic dragons too much, although they'll still come up here and there and again. Keep in mind that this version of the deck isn't the most meta version of the deck. I have a much more powerful version of this deck which utilizes your Rokket Dragon Link strategy to the fullest, but again, this is more casual and just for fun, and I wanted to show that you can have fun decks that aren't meta, although you don't need me to tell you that. This version of the deck was a lot more beginner friendly to build and is a lot less expensive to make compared to that version, so there was that too. I definitely plan on revisiting this strategy with that deck in the future to really show it off, but that'll be for another time. Anyways, let's go through this. The game plan with this deck is utilizing all the different Rokket monsters and their effects, most which allow you to grab another Rokket monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it directly to your field to call out your big boss Borreloads onto the field. And with support cards like Boot Sector Launch and Quick Launch, this is made even easier. Once these guys are on the field, they have effects ranging from hard negates and straight destruction. These guys also pack a huge punch each, and with having a different Borreload card of each extra summon type, there's always a situation where you can get one of these guys out as soon as you can. One card you want to make sure you see and can get to as quickly and as much as you can, and is the main key card of this deck, is Rocket Tracer. This card is not only your Savage Dragon enabler, but it's a great target for the card Quick Launch, another key card in this deck, and it allows you to basically swap any Rokket that you control for another Rokket monster. Its main downside is that you can't special summon anything other than dark attributes for the rest of your turn, but that is not a problem at all since, well, all of the Rockets, all of the Borros, and the entire extra deck is all dark monsters, so we're chilling there. Another very useful card is Router Dragon, which can be special summoned to your field for free as long as you have a Rokket Dragon out, which is usually no problem in this deck since all our monsters are Rockets here. If this card is sent to the grave, it lets you add another Rokket monster from your deck straight to your hand, and this card has solid defense too if you needed to just sit there for a bit. Another monster though, not too special but still worth mentioning for a bit, is Gateway Dragon. This card allows you to special summon it for free as long as your opponent controls a Link monster, something I actually wasn't running too much into rank this time around. But its second effect is quite helpful as it lets you special summon one level 4 or lower dragon from your hand. Your targets for these will usually be all of your rocket monsters. The rest of your deck is pretty much standard issue rocket cards, which all work in tandem with your Link monsters. I also have 2 Maxi in there for the extra drawing power and 2 Ash because this deck lacks natural negates. For our spells and traps, we run Quick Launch at either 2 or 3. This card is one of the essential spells for this deck because it allows you to launch a Rokket Dragon from your deck and directly onto the field. They can attack though, but again, that's not a problem because this is mainly used to get your resources out for your Borreload materials. Squib Draw, another essential card as it lets you draw 2 cards at the cost of sending 1 rocket monster to the grave. This is good as most of the rocket monsters have effects that trigger from the grave when they're sent there in the same turn, most allowing you to special summon another rocket monster directly from your deck onto your field. Boot Sector Launch is another must in this deck. This is the primary spell for rockets and for this deck. Not only does it give your rockets a buff, but it allows you to either special summon up to 2 rockets from your hand for free, or if your opponent has more monsters than you, it lets you summon rockets from your grave up to the difference of cards that you have from your opponent. This is very helpful, especially in the situation you may find yourself needing to get those few extra cards onto the field. For traps, we're going with some strange ones. Execute Protocols, which works directly in tandem with your Link monsters. Tactical Exchanger, which allows you to exchange a rocket for another rocket in your deck or grave. I found this a little situational, but still quite helpful at times. Red Reboot, a good trap which essentially shuts down your opponent's traps for the turn and lets you set it back face down. And Mirror Force. 3 of them. Look, I wanted to get the full effect and really feel like Revolver did in the anime, so yeah, this one's a must. And Imperial Order.
Whoa, 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 hey.
Look, you go up against a lot of shenanigans in ranked, most involving a lot of really fun spell card plays, and with this deck's big lack of spell and trap removal already, I had to include this just to help with stopping our opponents from relying on said spells too much and not getting too comfortable with their strats, while I, hopefully, get the opportunity to execute my protocols in this deck. Don't hate me, please. Lastly, the extra deck. This is going to consist of all your primary Borreload dragons of each summon type and your other essentials like Borreload Sword as well as the topologic dragons because they do come up too. Your absolute essential here is Borreload Savage Dragon, as you want to make sure you can get to this guy as quickly as possible. X-Charge Dragon is another one that's very easy to make and actually has a really decent effect. I feel like this card is a little underrated, honestly. Borreload Furious Dragon is one that won't come up too much because we only run 1 polymerization and there's no way to cheat this guy out in this deck build, but you want to make sure you can make him whenever you get the opportunity. And of course, the Borreload Dragon itself, a very good Link 4 monster. And again, Borreload Sword is very good, and all of these topologic dragons. Because this deck is mainly just sheer power and just blasting your opponent, this deck struggles in its lack of negates, as mentioned earlier, unless you have your big Borreload dragons out, and can be, at times, not always, kind of bricky if you don't open with the right cards that you need. But I did my best to work around the things that were being thrown at me in ranked as I worked towards my victory. And now, let's go to the duels. Alright, so we're gonna get straight into the duels. So this is duel number 1, and in this duel, I believe I was going up against Cyber Dragons up at this level. So it was Cyber Dragons, so I kind of knew exactly what to expect. I don't have the best opening hand, so I'm just gonna go ahead and put the Magna Rocket onto my field, and I'm gonna set the Imperial Order. Please do not hate me again. So yeah, it's at this point that I find out that my opponent is playing Cyber Dragons, so I go ahead and flip over the Imperial Order. Because Cyber Dragons is a deck that, you know, it relies on its spell cards to get going. They need their spell cards out to basically get anything rolling like as soon as they can. So the Imperial Order activation was the right call there. So I'm gonna chain their Max C to their Cyber Dart Cannon in case they do have any funny tricks up their sleeve. They're gonna go ahead and activate the Cyber Emergency, forgetting that I have the Imperial Order on the field, so they're just gonna go ahead and set 1 and pass it back to me. I'm gonna draw into Squib Draw, but Imperial Order is gonna do it. Imperial Order is gonna do its thing first, so I'm gonna get a second rocket up onto there. XC summon into the Link 4 X-Charge Dragon, and X-Charge Dragon is gonna go in for the big swing because board is wide open. Why not? Pass it back to my opponent's turn because I can't really do much else. Imperial Order is gonna collect its stacks from my life points, and my opponent is gonna send another Cyber Dark Cannon to the graveyard. So at this point, they have a bunch of Cyber Dark Dragons in their hand, I'm assuming, but they can't really do much. Imperial Order is gonna, you know, tax away from me. I'm gonna foolishly activate the quick launch, forgetting that I have the Imperial Order on there. And this actually happened in the duel where I actually forgot. Well, I was like, oh, flip. That's right, Imperial Order. I forgot. I'm gonna be able to get my Gateway Dragon up on there, knock out their defense, and use the X-Charge Dragon to swing. And at that point, my opponent's gonna scoop because they realize you can't really do anything without your spells, especially in the Cyber Dragon deck. So that's gonna do it for game 1. Alright, and now going up into the next duel. In this duel, I believe I was going up against Sacred Beasts? I think I was up against Sacred Beasts. My opponent's gonna go first. They're gonna set 2 and pass it over to me. I don't have, again, not a spectacular opening hand, but it's something that I can work with. I'm gonna go ahead and set the Mirror Force and get started with my Rokket Dragon and just swing in there for free because, you know, again, wide open board, I'm gonna take my shot. So yeah, at this point I find out that yes, my opponent is playing Sacred Beast, and it's at this time that I kind of wish I had Imperial Order, but I've got the next best thing. I've got Ash Blossom, which is gonna negate their spell card, because again, Sacred Beast, my experience, shenanigans all the time. But they're gonna be able to get their Hamon out this next move, I believe. Yeah, they're gonna get their Hamon out. Go into battle. I'm gonna use the Mirror Force to basically say no, and basically send to the graveyard, not really leaving them with anything. I've got the Rokket sitting there on the field. I'm gonna go into my second Rokket, and from here, I'm gonna XC summon back into the X-Charge Dragon, and I'm telling you, this guy is so simple to make. He just comes in here and does his thing. So I'm gonna go in there, swing for 3k, not really be able to do much else, and yeah, pass it back to my opponent. At this point, I need to make sure that I'm playing around as much of the stuff as I can. Whatever, I think it was like the Chaos Pool, which acts as their Hamon, is gonna go into swinging into my X-Charge. It's not gonna do any damage because I've got my Checksum Dragon out, which its effect activates from my hand. So when an opponent's monster declares an attack, you can special summon this card from your hand, then gain life points equal to half the card's defense. This attack position monster cannot be destroyed by battle. So we didn't take any battle damage that turn. If anything, we got life points, but at the cost of our X-Charge Dragon, which is now off the field. So at this point, I figure it's okay. I still got plays to make. I can go into my Quad Borreload Dragon, and I'm gonna go ahead and use Quad Borreload Dragon's effect here, but not before my opponent activates the Imperm, which, is whatever. I'm gonna say whatever and just swing into them. I can't activate Quad Borreload Dragon's effect, so yeah, I'm just gonna go into the free swing. At this point, they've only got 2 cards in their hand. They're gonna set 1 and not really be able to do much else, so they're gonna pass it back to me. From this point on, I'm gonna be able to get 1 Rokket Dragon up on there. Router Dragon is gonna follow suit, and from here on, I'm gonna go into the Link 3 Borreload Dragon. And Borreload Dragon coming out here is basically just making sure that no more shenanigans happen that are gonna, you know, cheat me out. That are gonna cheat me out of this win. They're gonna go ahead and activate the Hyper Blaze. Not really being able to do much. I'm gonna swing with the Borreload, and that's gonna be it for game because can't really do much else in that situation. But still, it's a victory that I'm claiming, and that's gonna do it for game number 2. Alright, so moving into game number 3. At this point, I'm starting to get a little bit of a better understanding after playing this after a few duels. Again, my hand sucks. Like, all my opening hands suck in these duels, but we make it work with what we have. At this point, I'm gonna find out that my opponent is playing Synchrons. My turn, I'm gonna go into the quick launch the Silver Rokket Dragon from my hand, get the Router, and the Router is gonna follow suit into the Quad Borreload Dragon. My opponent only has the 1 defense position monster, but I'm gonna use Router's effect from the grave to get my Rocket Tracer into my hand. because this is where I want to get into Savage Dragon as soon as possible. So that's exactly what I'm gonna go ahead and do right here into the Borreload Savage Dragon. And again, this guy is your big boy of the deck. You want to make sure that you get this guy out whenever you can. Whenever you can. So I've got Borreload Savage Dragon onto the field. I've got it equipped with the Quad Borreload Dragon, which is going to enable it to, you know, do all of its negates. At this point, my opponent isn't really going to do much. They're going to set the 2 and they're going to pass it back to me. So at this point, I'm going to summon the the Rokket Dragon, whatever it's called. The Rokket Dragon? Yeah. Anyways, Link 3 into our Triple Burst Dragon, which I really didn't need to make here because I didn't really plan on using it that much, but I didn't plan on keeping it onto the field for very long. I'm gonna go ahead and get another Rokket onto the field. It's gonna link with the Triple Burst Dragon, and I'm gonna go into my Topologic Zeraboros because, yes, again, the Topologic cards do come up in this deck. Make them whenever you can. So I'm gonna double swing for 3k for Zeraboros and 3.5k with the Savage Dragon. And at this point, my opponent's gonna try with the Synchro Overtake. I'm gonna say no with the Savage Dragon and basically negate their effects. They can't really do much from this point on. They're gonna set the 1 card face down, and that's gonna be it for them. It's gonna come back to me. I don't really have anything in my hand that I can do, so I'm just gonna swing. Because, yeah, at this point, I just want to go in for game, but my opponent, not really giving up, is going to activate the Reject Reborn, which, I am going to say no to, which they're going to chain the Stardust Flash to. You know, you want to, I get it, you kind of want to get whatever you can onto the field in a situation like this. So, I'm like, okay, just for the funnies, I'm going to chain the Maxi, no problem. Easy. So yeah, they're gonna get the Stardust Trail up onto the field. Easy, but I'm gonna use the Zeraboros effect to basically wipe both of our fields, which is gonna reset us back to square one. But Zeraboros' effect is gonna activate when it's banished, and it's gonna come straight back next turn. And upon seeing this, my opponent says, nope, I'm not dealing with that. Get that out of here. I'm done. And that's gonna do it for that game. Alright, and now for basically the final duel. This is sort of like a bonus duel because I only wanted to keep it to 3 duels for this video, but I thought this one might be an interesting one to showcase because I felt like I had to I had to play around a couple of things in here, except not really. And at this point, I already know exactly what my opponent is playing. My opponent is playing Blue Eyes in this deck, spoiler alert. But I could tell this before they even reviewed the first card. The first thing, anybody that plays with these sleeves, anyone that plays Ash Blossom sleeves or Blue Eyes sleeves, cannot be trusted, first of all. Don't trust anybody that plays with these sleeves. Anybody that plays with these sleeves is 100% a Blue Eyes player. Second of all, they're gonna go ahead and set the face down, and what do Blue Eyes players like to do? They like to bait you. They like to bait you with their stone cards so they can get their free Blue Eyes up onto the field. I immediately figured this out because honestly, I know. I'm gonna go ahead, put my Magna Rokket onto there. I'm gonna swing in there, knowing exactly what I'm getting myself into. So Magna Rokket is gonna go on there. I'm gonna use the Monster Reborn, bring that stone over to my side of the field. I'm gonna use these to link 2 into my Quad Borreload Dragon. Quad Borreload Dragon is just, it's just convenient. It's a very convenient card. You use its effects to destroy itself. And then you use it to basically go into your Savage Dragon if you have extra rockets that you can play. So Quad Borreload, I'm going to use its effect to destroy. I'm going to bring back its materials. And I'm going to Xyz summon into the X-Charge Dragon. Borreload X-Charge Dragon is going to come onto the field. And I'm going to end my turn here. Because I wasn't able to attack that turn. So my opponent's going to try to activate the Raigeki. I'm going to flip over the Imperial Order because I'm like, yeah, no, you shut down the Blue Eye spells, you shut down the entire deck. So this is one of those duels where I was very unashamed of playing this card because I knew exactly what I was going up against. For those of you that don't know, me and Blue Eyes have quite the history that I'm not going to go into this video, but I'm not the biggest fan of the Blue Eyes deck. Anyway, I'm going to make sure that I clear the field with the X-Charge Dragon, and I'm gonna make sure that they don't really have much that they can do. So at this point, their spells are shut down. They've got a trap set. Imperial Order is gonna start taking its toll on me at this point. They're gonna activate Waboku, which is gonna basically negate the damage. So I'm gonna be like, all right, don't worry about it too much. There's not a lot. I feel at this point there's not a lot that they can do. So it's gonna pass it back to me. This duel was extremely back and forth. Actually, it wasn't that long. It was kind of, I mean, 8 turns. Yeah, I guess. But I'm gonna go ahead, link into the quad Borreload Dragon. This time I'm gonna go ahead, get my direct attacks off, and I'm gonna end my turn here because again, there's not really a whole lot that I can do myself with the hand that I have. At this point, Imperial Order is starting to kind of be a problem, and I'm like, okay, I need to finish this now because Imperial Order is going to take me out if I don't take this guy out now, and I'm pretty sure my opponent at this point has figured this out already, because Imperial Order is gonna just bleed me of my life points continuously, but I'm still gonna be able to get the victory off with the quad Borreload and the X charge, and that's gonna do it for game. We didn't see a single blue eyes the entire game, and I'm just happy about that. That's a win in my book. So yeah, that's gonna do it for that duel as well. So that's gonna do it for the duels today, guys. And again, I know this deck isn't anything too spectacular at its base, but like I said, I enjoy giving myself these sorts of challenges where I build a deck of an archetype, learn it, and see how far I can take it. I really like making these types of videos, and I really hope you guys enjoyed watching it too. I run Master Duel rooms almost every week on my Twitch channel too, so feel free to swing by and say hi. And with that, I'll see you guys next time in the Duel Arena.